Hello to all you hobby hunters and welcome to my Boredom Busters. I am Brad Claybaugh and you are watching Brad's Boredom Busters. This is the channel that explores all types of hobbies. So if you're looking for something new to do, this is the right place for you. And we are going to continue now our series of tie-dye. Our last video, we did a tie-dye comparison. We did 2 spiral t-shirts. We did 1 ice dye and 1 liquid dye to see what the difference was in the process and what the results were. And I thought they were really great. This is the ice dye. I liked it so much, I'm keeping it for myself. But if anyone's interested in the other shirt, please contact me. Leave a comment in the video or contact me through my Facebook page or give me an email. I'd be happy to sell that to anyone that's interested. You can also go to my Etsy page. I have several tie-dyes there, plus acrylic pouring paintings. All right, so now let's let Buster take over and tell you what to do. All right, so now our second in the series of tie-dye videos. This one I promised you before, it is going to be a flower mandala. And so I'm going to show you how to fold that up. And then we're going to dye that with many beautiful multiple colors. So with this more advanced pattern, we're going to use some different materials than we did on our spiral. So this time, to help tie up the flower mandala, we are going to use Sinew. This is Sinew. It's a very fine waxed cord. You can get this from Dharma. And then, as I mentioned in the previous video, I like to tie up my patterns with kite string instead of rubber bands. So we'll be using that this time. And we are going to use many colors on this pattern. It's going to be really colorful and beautiful when it's finished. So for the flower mandala, got my cheat sheet here. It's going to be a mixture of bright yellow and deep yellow, then watermelon, dragon fruit, raspberry, blue violet, and deep purple. And then above the mandala, it will be an area of the fabric that's left over. That gets scrunched up, tied with the kite string, and that'll be layered with a mixture of the bright yellow and deep yellow, china red, electric blue, and then an overlay on the red and blue of midnight blue. Okay, before we get into tying up the pattern, just want to go over the steps. Just as the previous video, we pre-wash our shirt, then soak it in soda ash, and then spin it in the washer to get most of the moisture out, and then it's ready to fold. You can refer back to the previous video for precise mixture of the soda ash and also of the dye. And I'll put a link to the previous video at the end of this video. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so we've got our shirt all washed and soaked with soda ash, spun so it's just damp. Now we can start folding it up. First thing you need to do, turn it inside out is best. It's common practice for a lot of patterns to do that. All right, then lay that out flat with the front facing up. Then with your washable marker, grab the sides. To find the center. Mark that. Straighten out the top. Grab the shoulder seams Lay that out straight as you can. And this you can kind of visually see the center then with the label on the back. Okay. So then you'll take those 2 points, grab that. All right, and then fold your shirt in half down the center. All right. Smooth that out. Now you want to find a place to start the center of your mandala. You want it a little higher than center, so it's a little higher up on your chest. So right there is a good point. Fold that in half. Smooth that out as best you can. All right, now we're going to do kind of what they call an airplane fold. So you take the collar, bring that up, kind of hang on to the center part, smooth out the extra bulk of the fabric as best you can at this point. Just get it out of the way. Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay. All right, so you take that and then you fold that over one more time. If you have any wrinkles underneath, try and smooth those out as best you can first. There we go. Okay. All right, then it gets folded over one more time. Okay, and straighten that out as best you can. There we go. Okay, now that gets, you take that, flip that over. There we go. Then you repeat that same fold on the other side. So you take the bottom, comes up. Then you take your fold there again and bring that over one more time. Okay, then straighten all that out as best you can. All right, when you're finished, you should have 2 very thick folds on one side, and then where the collar and the bottom are, there should be 5 folds. So that's, if you have that looking like that for yourself, then you did it correctly. Okay, so now we take this, face the collar away from you. Go about finger's width or about an inch below it. Start there. And then what you'll do, take your washable marker, do a diagonal line, and then just keep going back and forth till you get down to the bottom. Okay, so that's where it will get tied with the sinew, is on these lines. All right, let's tie it up. So you take your sinew, put a slip knot in one end. And then that goes over your shirt to your top line. and then you'll pull that tight. And as you pull it tight, it'll start gathering and making the pleats. And you just want to try and keep your sinew as much on this line as possible. Grab the spool of sinew and pull on that. And try and control your sinew as best you can. And keep just letting it gather and create the pleats. And slipped a little bit here. Okay. So now that you got the sinew wrapped and started, roll it around, go over the top and then under about 3 times. And then hang on to that, and with holding on to the spool of sinew, pull that to cinch that up. You can go around a couple more times to secure that. Because what's going to happen is where the sinew is, it's going to restrict where the dye can go. So when we unwrap it, it'll have a kind of a white area, and that'll help define each color. Then you go around to your next line. Wrap it around about 3 times there as well. Just try to keep the folds all organized. And we come round to the next line, and we just keep doing that all the way down to the bottom. So just keep zigzagging. Try and stay on the sinew on your line as best you can. All right, now we're down to the bottom. So just cut that long, cut this other tail off so it doesn't get mixed in and mess up the pattern. So cut that. And then I usually like to just do a little half hitch on that just to secure it, but it's easy to undo at the end. There we go. All right. So that's the mandala part of it. Now you got the rest of your shirt up here, which we will do the scrunch to, which is a common and easy way to take care of all the excess fabric. Try and pull out all the bunches that are in there, like the other sleeve. Get it all kind of flattened out so it takes dye evenly. We will separate this. That'll make it easier too. That way it's not so thick, so that the dye penetration is better. We just kind of spread it out a little bit. Yeah, better. All right, so now time for the kite string. Okay, start gathering it up. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Not for this part. The mandala, yes, but for your scrunch, you can, whatever works. Okay, there we are, all tied up, ready for our dye. Okay, hey gang, all right, we're back out in the garage and we're going to mix up all our dyes. We got quite a few colors to mix up, so I'm just going to speed right through it. We showed you how to do it in our last video. I'll post that at the end of this one. All right, so just hang on and listen to the music and let's get going. All right, now I'm done with mixing up all the dye. Let's get the dye onto the shirt. All right, so ended up with one more space than I had originally calculated, so let's go over the colors again. We're going to be doing a mixture of bright yellow and deep yellow, watermelon, dragon fruit, Chinese red, raspberry, blue violet, and deep purple. And then when we get up into here, it's still going to be the bright yellow, deep yellow combo, Chinese red, electric blue with midnight blue kind of splashed on top of that. Okay, let's go. All right, so at this point, it's good to maybe just turn it over and check to make sure you've gotten enough penetration in these thicker areas. If the fabric looks a little fuzzy, kind of almost like light and white, then you probably need a little bit more dye in those areas. I say it's okay to put the bottle up into the folds to help make sure you get penetration. Now for the rest of it. Okay, now that goes into the tub, 24 hours to batch. I'll wash it out, dry it, and you'll see the result tomorrow. All right, busters, so here's our finished Lotus Flower Mandala. It came out really good. We had good color penetration. And now you can see the Sinew helps block the dye from penetrating where it's tied off, because it's tied very tight, so it can't get in there. So that helps create the pattern and an outline. All our colors came out really good. The only really funny thing that I noticed is, remember after I tied the mandala and then we scrunched up the excess t-shirt and we layered that with the yellow and then the red and then blue. Well, all our blue ended up on the back of the shirt for some reason, but it's It's an interesting aspect of the design now. So anyway, that came out really nice. And as I said before, if anyone is interested in purchasing any of my tie-dye shirts, you can get in touch with me, leave me a comment in the area below, or you can get in touch with me through my Facebook page, or check me out on Etsy. All right, so let's get back to the table and close this out. All right, Busters, so that was a really nice project. It came out really beautiful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe and tell your friends. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And speaking of upcoming videos, our next tie-dye project is going to be a little bit more advanced. This one, you learned how to tie off a pattern with basically straight lines. Now we're going to get into doing curves. And our next project is going to be a peace sign t-shirt. So let's get ready for that on our next project. A little bit more advanced, a lot more fun. So don't forget to check out our next video. Peace out, and don't forget to bust out some art.